Hello and welcome to the Cage Fight Podcast. This is Nick speaking.
Hey.
Across from the table from me, I have a fine gentleman who said, hey, but he is not Fat Albert. He is, in fact,
Mike.
Yeah.
Fat Albert actually said, hey.
I was going to say, there's a third hey for Fat Albert.
I'm 2/3 Fat Albert.
Well, hey is for
you got
horses.
the fat part.
Oh,
shit.
Oh, shit.
Breaking
news. Secret audio. Mike and Zach. Off the cuff. Talking how they really feel.
Yeah, I think they took out all the scenes that Bryan Singer did direct.
Well, good.
If I could find a torrent of the director's cut,
I mean, I don't know, dude. That sounds kind of weird.
you know what? I mean, I don't think it's that weird.
No, it's pretty weird.
People don't care the wrong you do.
Well, I care about this one. It's kind of fucked up.
It's pretty much like heroin.
What?
I love heroin.
Wait, you're addicted to heroin
Hold
now?
up, I gotta go have sex.
If I could go fuck Bryan Singer.
Wait, hold up, guys. Like, before you run off and have sex, you give me a lot to unpack here, but we're supposed to be talking about movies.
Yeah.
I love Zandali.
Wait, did you say Zandali?
Wait, really? You love Zandali? I thought you hated that movie.
I can't stress enough that this will be the top grossing movie of all time.
You really had a big change of opinion on that.
I don't know if you mentioned this, so I apologize if this is a repeat, but if anything, I'm gonna rejoice in the fact that I'm not watching G-Force.
Wait, you guys both hate that now?
Yeah.
I thought you were both into it. You have
Nope.
the whole G-Force gang? Like, well, I guess you guys are a bunch of fucking liars.
Yeah.
Are you okay with being just liars to all our listeners?
It's not G-Force, so we're okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I really wish I'd gotten to know the people I'm working with better before I started doing this. I'm gonna go, guys.
Hold
If I
up,
could
I
go
gotta
fuck
go
Bryan
have
Singer.
sex.
Yeah, you guys go ahead and do that, assholes.
Discuss.
Ha! Fucking got you guys. You
shit.
thought I wasn't recording that conversation,
Oh,
and yet I
boy.
was. The dark secrets out there, all these times they've been saying to me constantly, oh, when the mics are off, he's talking about how he loves G-Force. Now we see what they talk about when the mics are off.
You know,
They
this is
hate it.
slander.
This is pure slander.
I mean, I don't
First of all,
know.
I didn't consent to the recording of any conversation.
I haven't even
except for this
consented to
one.
this recording.
Tell that director
Zach
Vincent,
hasn't even-
bitch.
Zach hasn't signed the forms yet, even.
Hey, you may not have consented, but the people have a right to know. This is journalism. Up front, hard-hitting, cutting journalism, telling the people what they need to know. That Zach loves Zandali, and
So
that you both hate G-Force. I don't understand why
So
you
do we
push
have
it
to
through.
release Nick's racism rant that he went on?
We should.
And how
This does
he
not exist.
hates the Jews.
And just amongst many people.
Oh,
that he
yeah.
hates. I'm not even comfortable saying most of the words that he said in that recording.
Yeah, we had to like bleep it live.
For
That
our-
like me and Mike were just going like beep beep as Nick was just yelling.
And then even when we play it back for our own personal use, we have to beep it because I can't stand to hear some of the slanderous,
It's just
bigoted,
so bad.
I think you guys are thinking of Nick Cannon's racist rant, not me.
Oh, that might
that
have
could
been
be it. That could be it. Where he was talking about how he's glad he's divorced from Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Well,
But y'all been fucking exposed, and that'll be live on the YouTubes. You can hear the secret audio on TMZ.
What I want to know is what you have to say to the G-Force gang after all that.
well,
The G-Force gang knows that was all lies.
the G-Force gang is no stranger to the fake news media. Okay,
And that's exactly what this is. Fake news.
You might as well work for CNN, which stands for cheating, no, bad. So
I didn't know that there was a B at the end that was silent.
yeah, so it's a lowercase b.
Well,
But
all I can say is if you're gonna call out about fake news here, you don't trust any sort of journalism. Is that
No, we don't trust
it's-
your
You're
journalism.
trying to undermine the institution of journalism so you can get your fascist rhetoric put out on the internet. Well, I can't stand for
I'm
that.
pretty sure we've settled that you're the fascist for voting for Captain Corelli's mandolin, which sucks. And so, to the G-Force gang, I would like to apologize if you do hear that, because we're going to edit that out for sure. But if you do manage to get a hold of that, don't let it fool you. Everybody knows that I put in my all to ensure that the future of the G-Force gang is very bright. And, for example...
You guys realize Purvis is in here with me, right?
Oh, fuck.
He is in fucking tears right now. He is so sad. He is upset. Do you know how much this man has put his heart into G-Force?
He loves
He looked
G-Force
up to
gang.
you guys.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
and he's just so sad that Nick would go through the hassle of trying to slander us
honestly,
and undermine the word
There was
of the
no slander.
G-Force.
Every word of that was actually said at one point.
honestly,
Nice choice of words.
it's just kind of sad at this point that he would try to take down the G-Force gang, because we've never been stronger. We actually have a petition going to open up a G-Force ride at Disney World. They are going to smash down some of the more famous and iconic rides to get a G-Force ride in there if the petition goes through. And, the ride could be anything. Maybe...
I heard they're actually just gonna tear down the whole new Star Wars thing they did and just convert it all to G-Force.
Yeah, they're actually going to take that big Millennium Falcon. They're going to turn it to a freaking hamster ball.
I believe
Yep.
part of that was at your behest, and it's all based on lies. You got a company to spend billions of its hard-earned money to reconvert this to a G-Force themed thing, and you weren't even sincere about
is this Nick then defending big business?
Okay, see, now we're really
See, now
uncovering
we're
some of the...
unpacking some more of the underlying tones here.
See,
I'm
really...
just thinking of the kids, and I'm hurt
it. Yeah,
personally.
exactly.
In
It's,
trying to make us
all
look
those
bad.
child Disney fans.
In trying to make us look bad, he's just exposed himself as a major piece of shit, which I already knew, but I wasn't going to say on mic.
And he also exposed himself in front of that school.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, that was an accident.
I think
He was like the Marilyn Monroe thing. My dress blew up over the air vent, and I was...
But why weren't you wearing underwear at a school?
And you were wearing a shirt that said Captain Corelli's mandolin is my favorite fascist think piece, with an arrow pointing down at your exposed wang, and then a sign right under your wang that said, "Look up here at this, as long as you are under 18."
Now, for the record,
The sign is right there in this room.
the under 18 thing, Brian Singer gave me that, okay?
Oh yeah. See,
He
this
forced it
meant
on me.
your good friend Brian Singer. I
He
didn't
is not
wanna
my
say
good
it.
friend. You were looking for director's cuts of his films.
So we
and
watched
started in the audience.
Inconceivable in 211.
I do have one more bit of housekeeping. If you haven't signed the GeForce Ride petition, please go sign that. But also, all registered members of hashtag GeForce Gang, we do have our own insurance available now for anyone who's registered. We have dental, we have
It's all
vision,
lies. It's all built on lies.
and we have
Castle of lies.
a free weekly prostate exam for and we do in fact have a guinea pig who is performing the prostate exams, and I can assure you the benefits are beautiful. They're fantastic. They're very goodly benefits. They're very
Very goodly.
they're very
And they'll benefit you bigly.
My favorite part are the goodly benefits.
they're very they're great big benefits. The best benefits of any trending hashtag of all time.
Okay. I hope that you think of the hidden audio clip that we had there when you try and sign up for these GeForce Goodly benefits, friends.
And I
But
think
we'll move on now.
hope
I
you
can
think
see
of,
my co-hosts are uncomfortable with me exposing them.
I hope you think of Nick when you look at a big piece of shit that you drop out of your butthole into the toilet before you flush it.
And I hope you do too.
So,
All right.
what
So
the fuck did we watch?
this week we watched Inconceivable and 211. Two movies that you've probably never heard of. and that you probably never should.
They sound
should be
made
fine.
up,
Yeah,
quite frankly.
They kind of do.
Inconceivable sounds like a documentary about the Princess Bride, and 211 sounds like a 311 cover band with one guy who couldn't make it this week. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. I did every time I saw Inconceivable read it in the voice of that guy from Princess Bride. I can't remember the actor's name, but
yeah, he's his name
The
is
dude,
guy
he's-
from Toy Story.
You
yeah.
mean Grand Nagus Zek in Star Trek?
Hmm?
Grand
Yes.
Nagus Zek.
I'm not a friggin' nerd over here.
Excuse
He's
me.
not
Star
a nerd.
Trek
He just
is cool.
owns a G-Force shirt.
Yeah, because G-Force is ballin'. The G stands
Think
for
about those
gangster.
kids, man.
Those children.
I bet Nick is thinking about those kids.
Hey, no, that's Mr. Singer. All right. Anyways, Inconceivable is going to be the first one we're going to talk about here. It came out in the year 2017 with an R rating, real R rated, which I think it's
R.
hard R. I think only because there's a bunch of boobies in it for some reason. Not really.
Well, there's not a bunch of boobies, but there's enough to indicate that this is not going to be a good movie,
Yeah,
as we have proven on this podcast time and time again.
it's true. Director Jonathan Baker, who directed such classics as, well, Zach's his biggest fan, so I'm sure he can list them all.
Oh, I mean, he just has too many good ones to just pick out one.
Jonathan Baker has an acting credit in the 2017 film Inconceivable, where he plays the doctor who does the DNA test.
Didn't realize he starred in this. He pulled a Shyamalan
Yeah,
Hitchcock thing.
and
You
apparently,
you don't remember his producing credit on Dirty Tennis?
Oh, wait, Dirty... Was that made by Brazzers?
I feel like that might have been a Reality Kings,
Mm.
but I always mix those two up.
Oh, yeah.
He also apparently has been on The Amazing Race, which makes
Really?
I just want to point out in Dirty Tennis, it starred Caitlyn Jenner as himself.
Oh, okay.
see, that's
they,
dirty.
They could get
tennis.
the name right, but not the pronouns. What the fuck?
Well, it says Caitlyn Jenner himself as Bruce Jenner.
Okay.
Wait, when did this come out?
1989.
Oh,
Okay, so it's
okay.
kosher. It's kosher. It's okay. It's just not everything's been updated yet. But yeah, Jonathan Baker has been on The Amazing Race, and he looks kind of familiar, but probably because every time he spoke, I was like, hey, it's that really bad actor who I didn't realize was the director until after the fact. But
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, he's in it. It was produced by Baker Entertainment Group, which I have a sneaking suspicion is owned by Jonathan Baker, but I didn't look into it.
yeah, see, they cleverly, there's a title card at the beginning that says it's a JB production, and he wants you to think it's Jerry Bruckheimer. But at the end, you find out it's fucking Jonathan Baker.
Yeah. So it's a runtime of 106 minutes. Little long. 12.
To put this in perspective, the only quote on IMDb for this movie is, "God, what have I done?"
That really sums up, and that wasn't even in the movie. That's what the director said about it in an interview after the fact.
Yep. Yeah, it says quotes about film. But with a budget.
I'm just gonna quick interject. Purvis finally left. I actually don't give a shit about those kids. I just wanted to clarify for the record. Continue.
I was gonna say that sounded off character.
Well, I care deeply, but
I'm still pissed. Don't get me wrong. I just had to hear Purvis crying about that shit. But no, yeah, fuck the kids.
well,
Him and Nick, fucking kids.
hey. I'm gonna cut that, but
I'm gonna put it back in.
That's what Nick said to those kids.
You bastards.
When he was directing X-Men First Class.
All right. Well, budget $12.8 million. Box office gross. Take a guess.
0.
It's gotta be like 3,400 million.
It's between those two numbers. I'll tell you that.
Okay, I'm gonna
We
go
did it.
3,300 million.
Ooh, You both went over then when you changed yours. It's $218,000.
Oh.
So it made 1/5 of 1/12, which is 1/60th of its budget back. So
Do those numbers come from like the Lifetime Network when they aired this movie? Because that's what it felt like.
it did feel like a really bad Lifetime movie.
Yeah, or a really good Lifetime movie. I'm not really sure, but
All right,
A
if I'm being
well-produced
honest,
one.
this movie wasn't that bad.
it was. I mean, it was bad, but it did feel like a glorified Lifetime movie. Which is.
But I
yeah.
did watch these back to back, and it was definitely the worst thing that happened to me this week. Or the two back to back. If I'd spread it out a little bit, they would be the two worst things that happened to me this week, but it wouldn't have been such a singular terrible event that maybe wouldn't have soured me quite as much as it has on these two. But so Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 31%, audience score of 64%. It's surprisingly well reviewed, given my opinion of it, because there are some things that got way worse reviews that I liked a hell of a lot more than this movie, personally.
So you
Big
got
bets.
your freaking Nicolas Cage as Brian.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really.
He's not really in this movie.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, honestly,
he's
you
there.
could take his character out of this movie completely, and it wouldn't have really changed the plot at all.
Yeah. But of course, there's some things in this that happened in this movie that definitely point to the fact that it was directed by a man, and I don't think he would have wanted to cut Brian because sometimes you just need a penis opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
Sometimes the man just has to come in and be logical about things, and
Yeah.
get all these women to stop howling.
Of course, we had Nicolas Cage reprising his previous roles as characters who watch women out of windows. But-
I'm going to say, though, Nick Cage plays a good dad. Like, he should just play the dads.
That's true. He should have played all the dads in this one.
Every
Well-
dad in every film.
Given the amount of sex scenes we've seen him in, a lot of his characters have got to be dads. You know, what I
Yeah,
mean?
he
Like,
busts a lot.
mhm. Not an
Um,
actor I expected to see quite as many sex scenes of as I have, but
I'm hoping to see a lot more. So we got Gina Gershon as his wife Angela, former castmate from Face Off. And I thought this was interesting. They have something else in common.
They're both Jughead's mom?
Something even more than that. They've both been in 9/11 movies. And
Oh.
the one Gina Gershon was in, which came out in 2017, has Charlie Sheen. Yes, Deadfall's. Is it Deadfall? Deadfall's Charlie Sheen
Yes.
in it.
There's a porn star with a really close name to that. I'm not going to talk any more about it, but I'm just going to say.
And
Cool.
there'll be a link in the description to her RedTube page. We got Nikki Whelan as Katie, who was in Left Behind.
Yes,
I thought she
did
looked
see
familiar.
That's where she's from.
Yeah, and she was also in the Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which, if you forgot about that, you're very lucky.
that. I never saw any of the Rob Zombie Halloweens.
They are, to put it politely, trash.
Oh, okay.
Like your little slanderous drop at the beginning of the episode.
Well,
Tension.
Oh yeah, you should fucking see it in here. It's nuts in this room right now.
yeah, we're
Um,
actually all pointing guns at one another currently.
That's what all the clicking in the mic is, because Nick's gun doesn't have any bullets left in it. Because he was shooting all those kids. Natalie Eva Marie as Linda. She's a WWE wrestler. And Faye Dunaway as Nicolas Cage's mom. And she's an Academy Award-winning actress. And yeah,
Now she's in this.
now she's in this. So yeah.
Well, now that we're past the cast, just some general trivia.
General.
Lindsay Lohan was originally going to star in this movie, but the studio decided to change out the actress last minute. So we could have seen Lindsay Lohan. All it said on the facts was that she was going to star. I don't know if she was going to play Gina Gershon.
She was going to be Katie. So this was unveiled at Sundance in 2014 by Lindsay Lohan, who said she was going to be in it, and they had promoted her being in it for a while, and then it just, like you said, at the last minute, did not happen.
Yeah.
Would have been interesting, though.
She got chewed up and spit out by the system.
I'm a Lohan stan.
Just
so
like all
see.
those G-Force fans that you chewed up and spit out.
Seriously, just think about them.
They have dental insurance now, so...
So this movie was repeatedly delayed, and it hadn't even finished pre-production by the time it was supposed to be released, which maybe shows a little bit in the quality of the film. And yeah, that's all I got for this.
The only other fun fact that I have is that Faye Dunaway broke her leg a few days before filming this, and that's why she's sitting through the whole movie. So yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
I didn't really either, but when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, they never show her standing, and apparently they had to. I mean, she wasn't in the movie a lot. I don't know how much.
I
they
thought
had to
you meant the
rewrite.
wrestler girl, and I was like,
no.
she's like in the water, like
No,
she's
not
standing.
The old
And
lady.
they put a chair under the water, just below the waterline, so you couldn't see it.
They also show her jogging on a beach.
Yeah, which I was
have
okay with.
I have some notes about. So, should we get into it?
First, we got to do everyone's favorite segment. Everyone's.
Okay, we're skipping that.
The
Yeah,
Cage
this is-
Style Report, baby!
I thought we were going to do that 10 episodes from now.
Oh, no, we got one. Okay, so here we go. Cage is looking frazzled. He's got some balding hair that's like medium length, and he's got a variety of monocolor long sleeve t-shirts and sweaters with dark blue jeans. And that's it. Nothing noticeable. he's barely in this movie, and his outfits are pretty normcore.
Yeah.
Dadcore.
Glad we had this.
I think he was just
Hey,
wearing...
some people tune in just for that, and they were really mad for like 10 episodes until...
That's true. We have gotten a lot of hate mail, mostly from the Nick fans. Psychos, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Nicolas Cage was in this movie and he was wearing clothes. I also noticed that too.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I'm trying to recollect how often he actually popped up in the movie, and it was just kind of like every 25 minutes he was like, "Hey, I'm
here too.
I tried to blast a cum in your thing and it didn't work." And she's like, "Yeah, yep, that's why we have these freaking embryos." So.
Okay. So we'll get into the plot summary now. Opens with a mother comforting a crying child when a man walks in. She begs him to be let go, and then he begins to strangle her until she stabs him with a kitchen knife.
Hell yeah.
4 years later, Cage is jogging, and I just want to...
He jogs in almost every movie.
Yeah.
He's got to stay fit.
Yeah, since he's always on set, he has to do it on set, and then they just kind of flick the cameras on, because he's jogging in the other movie that we watched too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just kind of a thing for him. No New Orleans, but I'm guessing that's his favorite place to jog.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't know Cage's character's backstory. He could have been from New Orleans, for all we know.
That's true. We
Yeah.
don't really know anything about him other than his name is Brian.
And he's a
Something.
doctor.
Oh, yeah.
He rides a motorcycle in one scene.
That's true.
I don't remember that at all.
It's like the very first scene. Like,
Yeah, the first scene he's in, he gets on a motorcycle, and then that's the last we see of that.
Nice. That must have been the Ghost Rider motorcycle too. See,
this isn't the Ghost Rider verse,
this
which is in the G-Force verse.
which is in, well, not the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but a Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mhm.
So take that.
So, I also want to say that we're introduced to Cage's wife, Angela, who, right off the bat, I thought it was the woman who was in the first clip in the movie who was stabbing that dude.
Yeah.
Because they had the same hair, same look.
White
everything
lady,
about 'em.
dark hair.
Yep. Was not aware that it wasn't until a good, 30, 40 minutes later.
Yeah,
But-
I spent a lot of the first chunk of this movie wondering if I was supposed to be figuring out who the woman in the cold open was, because that scene where she stabs that guy is like 10 seconds.
Well,
And-
and it's never brought up or relevant again.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
We never even find out who that guy is that she killed.
Yeah.
Why was that there? There were a million other flashback sequences in this movie, all of which could have been slightly more relevant to open the movie with. but-
I'm pretty sure he was the father of Maddie.
Yeah. Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, but like,
Maddie
why
is
was
a child
she-
that we'll be introduced to.
why was
in
she
the
like
next bit.
killing, or like, why was he coming home and she was so scared at that point or whatever? Like, it was,
I mean, I don't know.
it just seems like so.
The only thing that I really pieced together was that I kind of feel like that family must have been paranoid about her in a similar way, because she's not very good at like freaking hiding how weird and conspiratorial she is. So I don't know. It could have been many scenarios, but I think the long and short of it was that she was just stealing his child.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you'll find out more about that in a minute.
Spoilers.
So, through a series of events, this lady Katie, blonde lady with blue eyes, which will come up later, kind of, I guess. She is introduced to Angela, the wife of Nicolas Cage, who is actually the main character of this movie, basically, and Nicolas Cage is just superfluous. And Katie's daughter, Maddie, is now friends with the Cage Angela daughter named Cora. And Katie
From the
does...
Legend of Korra.
Yes. She is a... Well, I haven't seen The Legend of Korra.
She's a waterbender, but also the Avatar.
Oh, okay. So Katie doesn't like having her picture taken for some reason. She says she left her abusive husband, and it is after a couple of flashbacks that we realize that it is she who is the mom in the beginning who stabbed that man and the husband, and she now wears color-changing contact lenses and dyed her hair, and yeah.
Yeah. Also, this is going to be a great road to go down. But you know what? Okay, here we go.
Mike,
we
you're
go.
doing great today.
Here we go. So, to preface this, I've never had a reason to.
I know he's shaking after being exposed.
Never had a reason to doubt a woman who said she's been abused by a man. Okay, and let's okay. Hold on.
No,
But-
we're skipping past this. We are
So-
skipping past this. So basically, Katie butts into this couple's life.
And she's like, yeah, I had an abusive husband, and everybody all agrees that it seems a little bit sketch. Just
I
saying.
don't know. I don't think I've never met her husband or know anything about her past, but he seems like a good guy.
Hey, there's two sides to every story.
Believe women, guys.
That's what we're saying. We're saying believe women, and they should have believed Katie.
Wait,
But
what?
she was lying.
She was, in fact, lying. Okay,
That's
so
revealed. So,
can we cut everything I've said out of this entire episode?
Cage fight. So we're talking about.
yeah. So Angela is pregnant again, and she tells Katie and says she hasn't told Cage yet, but right after this, in the very next scene, she miscarries. So
This happened so
fun
fast
fact.
that I was so fucking confused. I had to go back and change my notes
Yeah.
because I totally missed the fact that she had a miscarriage. I thought this is how the sequence of events kind of went. It was like, hey, I'm pregnant. And then Katie's like, hey, I'm going to move to Colorado. And then Angela's like, what if you stayed here and was the nanny for the baby?
Mhm.
And somewhere in there, it is revealed that the baby she was going to have is not alive anymore.
Yeah, she
That's one way
miscarried.
to phrase it. Yes, yes.
Because, well, I mean, it was alive at one point because life begins at conception.
So yeah, pretty much immediately. I was watching it and I was just like, okay, she's pregnant. Interesting. Where is this going? And then next scene, immediately like, oh, okay, that's where it was going. She's miscarrying. I guess they had to set up that she was pregnant somehow before they had her have a miscarriage, but they could have just made her pregnant at the start, and like, with a bit of a belly bump.
Yeah, or like
And-
when they meet at the Mommy and Me group, be like, "Hey, I'm about to be Mommy and Me's, because freaking I'm having another kid."
Mommy and 3 minus 1.
Yes.
What?
3 mommy
311, guys.
311. But so then Angela asked Katie to move into the guest house to act as a nanny for Cora, and because she wants to go back to work, because Angela thinks going back to work will help her get over her sorrow at her miscarriage. But for some reason, Nick Cage's mom does not like Katie at this part.
Yeah.
Early on in the movie, she hates Katie. Later, she likes her a lot for some reason. But
She hates Katie because she doesn't know this person, and
They invite her to live at their house and take care of their kids almost immediately with like no background checks or anything that these doctor people
right
can afford to do.
And then after no real proof that she's gotten to know her, they become besties because they're just
I'll say
they just-
that.
well, yeah,
wine
maybe not
moms
besties,
getting-
but everyone starts to like Katie more than Angela by the end of this. But
Well,
Yeah,
when
she's
Angela's
younger.
running into a room being like, "You're killing people and you're stealing my baby," like being all irrational, I don't think it's really siding with Katie to be like, "Hey, calm down."
true.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, everybody's just kind of worried about Angela, and we've seen that they just refuse to believe women in this movie. So,
Yeah. So Katie moves in to their guest house. There's a series of clips showing that Katie's being weird. She's like snooping around the house, like
looking through clothes and
looking through clothes and
cabinets
pictures.
and, yeah.
She's skinny dipping in the pool outside.
while Nicolas Cage watches.
Yeah, I didn't really understand why that scene was there at all. But
So-
I guess it's to set up the next scene, which then never matters again. But
It really this was a whole, and the setup of Nicolas Cage watching her skinny dip doesn't even pay off because his wife never finds out that happened.
Mhm.
She suspects that there's an affair for 1 second, but that is never a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's none of it. I guess it's to try and help you sympathize with Angela and like believe her too. But I don't know.
For me, it kind of felt like, hey, you just watched Looking Glass. Remember this? He's freaking staring at this lady.
I think that whole scene was more a director choice to be like, I really want boobs in this movie.
Yes, this was one of two
There weren't
scenes.
enough. There were boobs in a murder scene later, but I can't get off to someone dying.
Was there ever a movie where Lindsay Lohan lets her tits out in like a pool? Because I feel like that was
Parent
probably
Trap.
what they were thinking.
In the Parent Trap. Oh God. Yeah, they might have been trying to get Lindsay Lohan naked. Maybe that's why they cut her, because the director was like, "No, I've seen those boobs enough. New boobs."
I'm sick of these
Oh,
boobs. Let's get this Left Behind boob chick in there.
So at this point, we're like 45 minutes into this movie, and I'm thinking, God, nothing is fucking happening, and this is boring the shit out of me. But then next scene, some things begin to happen. Angela and Brian are going to have another kid, and they decided that Linda, a mutual friend between Angela and Brian, is going to be the surrogate mother.
Then smash, boom, cut to next scene. Linda is running towards the camera on a beach, which is when I had to double check that this movie was directed by a man, because there's a
That was
very
the best scene in this movie.
there's a very large-breasted wrestling lady who's just jogging at the camera for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
It doesn't even serve as a transition into this scene very well. She's just running at the camera, and then all of a sudden, boom, it turns out these two hot girls happen to be doing sex. And the director can be heard behind the camera saying, cha-ching.
And this wrestler lady is named Linda in the movie, and she's a mutual friend of Angela and Katie. But Katie and her are doing the dirty business. And Angela doesn't know it was Linda, but Katie, or Linda reveals to Katie that, like, hey, Angela and Brian, Mr. Cage, Mr. and Mrs. Cage, are planning on having another kid, but since Angela is barren and keeps miscarrying and stuff like that, they're going to implant the egg into me, and I will be the surrogate mother. And then Katie is like, well, I'm the egg donor. It's my baby. And also, you're dead now. And just kills her right there.
Whomps her in the face with like a weight or something.
While she's just in her underwear in the middle of the water?
Yeah, they're just in the middle of the water. And she's like, trotting through the water where you like can't see her hands. And you think, oh, she's just like walking in the water. But it turns out she's concealing. When did she put this weapon in her hand and then get into the water with it?
Where did it come from? I have no idea. I didn't
know.
even know what she hit her with at first because I saw that happen. I was like, was that a bottle? What's going
a
on?
Dumbbell.
Yeah, it was like a small dumbbell that she somehow smuggled from the beach.
If you
into the water.
remember, the girlfriend is a fitness trainer and she killed her with her own thing.
Whoa.
Ah, because she wasn't a good enough mother to that weight.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
Think about those children.
So yeah, and in the process of like right before she murders Linda, she kind of confesses to donating an embryo to a previous family that she apparently decided wasn't taking enough care of the child, and so she took the baby back, and she plans to put the new baby in her and then take Cora, the new baby, and her current also stolen baby on the run.
Yep. She donated 3 eggs, and she's taken all those babies with her. And so she, next scene, it's flash forward a while, and they're like, Angela's like, yeah, Linda's dead, so I don't have a surrogate mother anymore. They don't seem to mourn Linda at all.
I was expecting there to be like a scene where like some people find her on a beach. It's like a half-second scene that I didn't even notice at first. I expected there to be some conversation about like, oh damn, sucks that fucking Linda died, and it's kind of weird how she died, and maybe we should look into how she died.
This movie does a lot of like random time jumps without warning you.
Without even telling you it's how much time has passed.
Yeah, like it's like after that scene, it's just like, oh, yep, she's now pregnant with their kid.
Yeah,
and it's like 3 months later.
Yeah, she's pregnant and like has a visible bump.
Yeah.
And nobody has asked her if she has seen Linda or Linda's brains or something.
So I've cut out a lot of things here, but essentially, as time goes on, between Katie and Angela, things are getting a little more tense because Katie is acting a little too possessive over even Cora, too, Angela's daughter, and says, like, she says, like, you're not the mother, like, please stop calling her your daughter.
Yeah, there's 2 occasions where Angela kind of overhears her referring to Cora as her daughter, and she basically is just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Like, please stop. And Katie's also seems to be very possessive over the baby she has inside of her, which is a little more understandable, I guess, but also, like, she's supposed to be surrogate mother and donating a baby to needy parents.
And I just felt like, hey, chill out, freaking carrying a baby can't be that hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, just relax.
I'm carrying a food baby right now. But, so, apparently Angela used to be a drug addict, and now everyone is getting worried that she's, like, using again because she got some Valium from Katie's doctor for Katie, and Valium was the thing she abused, and
Katie totally rats her out about freaking hitting the bottle.
Just fucking accuses her of that, even though Angela didn't actually take the drugs. She considered them, she considered taking them, but threw it away. And as this is all going on, like, I don't know, tension is ratcheting up. Everybody is basically on the side of Katie because they all believe Angela is using again and that they can't trust her. Angela then in the midst of all this is like, oh yeah, well, she killed Linda. I know she killed Linda because she deduced this somehow. I didn't take a lot of notes because really a lot of this movie, nothing was happening and none of it seemed especially consequential.
I
But-
mean, honestly, there's really no explanation as to why. Like, they don't bridge any of these gaps. It's just kind of like Linda's dead, Angela's suspicious, Angela accuses her because reasons.
Mhm.
It's very convenient. And then she just steadily like flies off the handle and makes everybody more worried about her to make her fears less credible.
Yeah. So basically, Cage and Cage's mom are against Angela. They're like suspicious she's a drug addict. But Angela still snoops on Katie. She finds Katie's color-changing contact lenses in Katie's bathroom, and she calls the doctor clinic, or the egg donor clinic, and essentially indirectly finds out that Katie was probably her donor through like a series of roundabout questions.
Yeah, she just literally asked the director directly. And he was like, yeah.
Yeah, she
Because
is.
the director plays the doctor, so
So, to confirm this, her suspicions, she orders a DNA test secretly at the hospital. She got some of her kid's hair and some of Katie's hair. Meanwhile, Nicolas Cage continues being a pointless character in the movie. Katie plots a way, decides she's going to crush some of the Valium up, and she drugs Angela. I'm not really sure why.
Because Angela said, "Oh, I'm not taking drugs. Like, I'll do a pee test."
Oh, yeah.
And so she's like, "Haha, I'm gonna make you fail it."
I see.
honestly, I wanted to try some of that freaking spiked carrot juice.
I thought you were gonna say pee, and I was gonna say, "Please don't."
I mean, if I can get a buzz off the pee too, I'll put a little bit of that in there. But yeah,
So yeah, after Angela comes back from the DNA test clinic, having dropped off those hair
Cups.
samples, she realizes she's been drugged and like falls asleep in the car. Then comes home, finds that they're having a surprise baby shower for her, and decides she wants to ruin the party and starts screaming at Katie about how she drugged her and just going on about, Katie being evil. So Cage breaks down the party and wants to go talk to Angela, and like Katie's like, no, let me do it. And then she walks over to Angela and says like, yeah, I drugged you, and also I'm gonna take all the babies. You're not a good mother. I know you're not. I'm a better mother, and also I stole my kid too.
I'm such a good mother that I fucking steal all these kids from anybody who turns their back for a second.
So Katie then like fakes an assault by and tries to make it look like Angela tried to kill her and that she was defending herself. So they're both going to the hospital now, and while Cage is waiting in the hospital waiting room, he gets the DNA test results delivered to him since Angela isn't waiting, and sees that Katie is the mother of Cora, and so he
He decides he's gonna marry her instead.
Yeah, so he goes over to Katie, who's being put into an emergency C-section to save the child after the fake assault, and she starts getting all lovey-dovey with Cage, and he's weirded out by it.
Yeah. Well, he's also told Katie that Angela died
Yes,
from
that's true.
from her wounds. So Katie's like, score, and then she starts making out with Nicolas Cage for a second, and it's really weird. Yeah. Then he takes her to go see the baby, and he's like taunting her about it, and then who frickin' comes out but Angela, who, twist, is not dead, and that's why she came out.
Glad they didn't just wheel out a dead body.
Yeah.
She's just like from the coroner's office, the
We have to
mortician's
go
there.
through the baby holding area.
Yeah, and then the cops come up and start hauling Katie away, and I'm wondering why the cops agreed to go along with this weird little prank where, like, before...
It wasn't the cops. It was like an orderly came up.
Oh, I swear I saw two dudes in blue uniforms. but
Oh.
maybe it was like security guards or something. But they come up and start taking Katie away, and yeah. So that's basically it. We get closing shots of Katie in a padded cell and Cage jogging again. And then Angela and Cage curled up with all three of the kids, Maddie included. And closing credits with some like very momish adult contemporary music. And we're through it. And yeah.
I didn't really understand her plan at the end of the movie when she found out like Angela was dead. Like, I'm gonna start making out with Cage now and saying how much I love him. Like, it just seemed out of the blue and random.
Yeah, it was
It's like,
it-
oh, his wife just died. Who's he gonna fuck now? Like,
like, Cage wasn't in this movie enough for them to like
Establish,
allude
love
to any
interest
kind
there.
of attraction between them. Yeah, he saw her naked for a second, but then he got pretty bored pretty fast. But she just kind of jumps the gun and assumes, hey, your wife's dead, and I'm the first woman you've seen since then, so
We fuck now.
we fuck now. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sorry my summary there was kind of jumpy and all over the place, but I didn't take very detailed notes because honestly, most of the things that happened took a long time to happen and weren't especially interesting or notable, and I wasn't sure what I should be taking note of and what I shouldn't because this movie was kind of jumpy and choppy and like not much of a through line. The
Yeah.
writing wasn't great. Also, I don't know. I did not care for this at all.
I mean,
Personally.
it was the premise was fine, I guess, but yeah, like you said, it was kind of all over the place. Nothing really transitioned into anything else
Mm-hmm.
cleanly. So I rewound this movie a few times to try to figure out what the fuck was going on, only to find out that I hadn't missed anything.
Yeah, I felt like the time skips that weren't noticeable were like one of the biggest issues with this. That was just like, oh, I guess we are months later from that point where it's like it didn't make sense anymore that they're like people aren't talking about things that just happened and I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, and the acting was very poor, which is like I guess the premise and the poor acting is what kind of made me feel like it was like a shitty Lifetime movie.
See, I don't think the premise is that bad. It seems it's kind of interesting, and I think it could be good if done well. But this
sure.
was not done well.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they started to do some weird thing like near the end of the movie where they did a flashback of Katie where she was donating some eggs or something and it like made her infertile.
Yeah,
And like they just didn't talk about who any of those people were ever again.
yeah. It was literally just a quick shot where a doctor told her like, "Hey, you got 3 shots." And we're like, "Oh, okay." Maddie, Cora, 3rd child.
Yeah, but like she talks to someone's like, "Oh, you told me this would be safe or something."
Oh yeah,
And like,
yeah.
what was that all about? Like,
yeah. Maybe
Just-
that's what set her off, or that's what I gathered from it is that she went crazy because she couldn't have kids, so now she was gonna steal the kids she donated.
but like, why
back.
was she donating in the first place then?
I
Like,
don't know.
I don't know. It just felt like there's a bunch of things that could have been.
Expanded on
Expanded
or
on.
explained in any
Yeah.
way, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
And I don't need a movie to hold my hand or anything, but it's like I would have appreciated like at least some sense of like direction, like a through line throughout all the scenes where like
yeah, it's
where they felt connected or worthwhile. But
pretty much for the entire 105-minute runtime of this movie, you're kind of wondering how the fuck you got to wherever you are every 15, 20 minutes.
I thought her character was kind of weird too, where they were trying to make her out to be like a sexy nanny or something, but then also like super motherly, but not together at all.
Yeah.
Like it was either one or the other. It was never this is a whole character.
Right. Yeah, and it was never they could have seized the opportunity to be like, "Wow, it's super hot. She's a great mom, dude."
Yeah,
And,
like or even anything like that to
That
show that
turns me
she's
on.
competent. Like
Right.
I thought it was just a bad character.
Well, yeah. Another thing I was gonna say about this movie, and this is a weird complaint, but the camera was like always handheld. It was like never put on a tripod, and it was just like it's jarring when you've got like kind of bouncy, shaky cam handheld scenes for like just a bunch of soccer moms sitting around talking about their kids going to school. Like you don't need that kind of movement, that frenetic energy. It added nothing to the scene. It was distracting, really.
Well, what we failed to mention is that this is actually a found footage film.
It's not though. It's not, for the record. It is not a found footage movie, but for some reason you can tell that from the jiggles of the camera movement, this was usually handheld, which maybe this was a super low budget movie. Like they couldn't afford a tripod or like a dolly or anything. So they gave all the money to Cage for his 10 minutes on screen, and then because I don't know, apparently he charges $1 million for a role sometimes. Like,
And he really earned it in this one. By being a fucking great dad.
That is another thing. I felt annoyed that I had to watch this movie partially because there was so little Nicolas Cage in it. Like, he wasn't really impactful. Most of it wasn't about him. And I'm okay with that sometimes. But his character wasn't worthwhile. You know what I mean?
I was more upset at Sonny for that.
Okay, I was pretty upset with Sonny,
he
too.
was in it for maybe 2 minutes.
But when he did show up, he was awesome, right?
He was interesting,
I agree
but
with
that
you guys.
movie was way worse.
I agree with you guys that I wish
That was a worse movie.
the whole
I'll say
time I
that.
was watching this movie, I wish I was watching Sunny. I feel the same way. You know, I'm hearing you and I'm feeling the same way.
I can't agree with you about that, my friend. Sonny, I don't ever want to see again. But
That didn't win, right?
no, that didn't.
Oh,
win.
thank
What did
God.
Sunny go up against? What are we doing?
Was
here?
that G-Force?
Was it? No,
No,
Oh.
because
G-Force was against Stolen because I voted for that. I would
Oh, yeah.
never vote for Sonny, even if it was against G-Force. G-Force was going to win that.
Wait, G-Force was up against... I thought it was up against that fucking... The Ghost movie.
Pay the Ghost?
No, that was Ghost Rider. That was
Yeah.
our Halloween
that's right, 'cause
episode
I
that
didn't want... Okay.
came out in September.
and next week's our Christmas episode, so stay tuned for that.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, no.
Sunny was great. This was not great.
This is a man movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would like this movie if better done, but in its current state, it's a chore to watch, and not good. Not good. This gets a Nick stamp of disapproval, and
this
Yeah.
movie definitely seems like one of those Netflix original movies that no one talks about, and you only see on Netflix like at 2 a.m. when you're like, oh, I really need to put something on.
And you wonder what the fuck it is, but not enough to stop and like watch the trailer or read
Yeah.
the description. Yeah.
You're just like, oh, they made that?
And I feel like this movie would have been a lot better if they had done like more than one take for each scene, because it really felt like they were
one taking him. Yeah, even Cage doesn't like he does not give a shit about this role. His lines seem really half-hearted a lot of the time, but
yeah, it kind of felt like an SNL sketch that they kind of threw in the schedule at dress rehearsal, and nobody knew what was happening, and they all had to read their lines off of cards and do a poor job of pretending that they weren't. So,
well, with that, I think we're gonna take a break and hopefully refresh, so we're not as fucking choppy and weird in the next bit. But if you enjoyed that, if you saw Inconceivable and enjoyed it, I've got I gotta say fuck you. Anyways, goodbye.
Ding, 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 break time.
if you like this movie, I hope you can never have kids.
I mean, it wasn't that bad of a movie.
Boo,
It was fine.
Fuck that movie.
What was our we had a bit of a philosophical monkey's paw question.
Yes,
at
I
D&D
believe
on
Amber
Friday.
brought it up to him
Oh,
as well.
That if you
Oh, the vagina thing?
if you wished on a monkey's paw that you became a child, but then only your genitals reverted back to their child state.
See, it's this Bryan Singer-ish mental gymnastics that comes from him that makes me.
I'm gonna kill
Wait,
myself the
wait,
moment
isn't
Dave
that-
says we're recording.
Isn't that the game you're a part of?
Did you want me to record that?
Nope, I did. You can-
Cool, because I did.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna go take a piss, but we're rolling.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take credit
Don't
for
worry, I
that
can
monkey's
cut that
paw
out.
question, but if it goes viral, I do want the credit. So,
All right, so we're here today to talk about 211. It's a new day. We passed midnight over the last 20 minutes that we were taking a break for. No, we didn't. Apparently, I'm just as fucking weird as I was last time, even though I thought I was different. 211, guys.
yeah, 211. The amount of times that I have wished that I could disappear from existence while recording this episode.
Yeah, the amount of times I checked how much time was remaining in the movie during the course of this.
Oh yeah.
211.
I remember almost nothing about this movie, so I'm going to be great commentary.
Yeah. Zach admitted to not watching it, and we're not gonna hold his feet over the fire.
It's not that I didn't watch it. It's just that it was on in the room I was in.
He got too horny from the terrorism.
Yeah.
And he freaking had to leave the room.
It's that Fire Emblem, man. It's just Three
That
Houses
Fire
is so good.
Emblem. Yeah, and at the point you're hearing this, old news. Well, it's like I beat that like 10 years ago. But
Yeah, the first Fire Emblem.
yes,
Which one? The one that came out only in Japan or the first American release one?
Both.
we're all about American here.
Oh, wait, that Fire Emblem's really good.
I've only played one Fire Emblem, but it was a lot of fun. And that's what I have to say about that. 211. How's everybody doing?
Hey, 211 came out in 2018, rated R. Directed by York Shackleton, a man who I think made up his name, because no one is named that.
York Alec Shackleton, definitely part of the witness protection program, but somehow still decided to be a director. Not a famous one though. And for the, do you have anything for the budget of this movie? Or
Nope, couldn't find the budget or the box office gross anywhere. Production company for this is Millennium Films, a company that has not been around for 1,000 years. So
yeah, and they didn't build the freaking Han Solo's spaceship car. So
yeah. What fucking claim do they have to this name?
yeah, and they didn't fucking write the Backstreet Boys album. I can tell you that. Any other ones we can do?
Y2K jokes? I don't know.
Millennium? No, we can move on. I've got plenty.
Okay.
Will 2K. So runtime 86 minutes.
Still too long.
Yeah, a little bit. But here's the kicker. Reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, 5% on Tomato Meter, which means it got better reviews than Deadfall, I would like to say. I don't know.
That does not sound right.
Yeah, Deadfall got a 0% on the Tomato Meter.
Deadfall's so good though.
See,
Like, how does Deadfall get terrible reviews?
I don't know
But,
why
like,
that
compared-
movie doesn't get more credit or a higher cult status, because I feel like it really is, I don't know, it's something to behold.
It's fun.
Mhm.
when you tell me 5% of critics reviewed this movie favorably, that just tells me that 5% of the critics who watched this movie were paid off by somebody.
Yeah.
And that probably went into the budget of this movie. Although it doesn't surprise me that we were not able to find the budget for this one, because it legitimately felt like I know I said the last one felt like a slightly better than average Lifetime movie. This legitimately felt like a TV movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because it was a direct to TV movie.
Yeah, and it was a T-Rash.
T-Rash. It's related to the T-Rex, but not nearly as awesome.
A lot more itchy.
Yeah. Audience score of 10%. So 1 in 10 human beings liked this who are not critics.
And none of them are here now. So
some fun facts, some trivia. I got like nothing here. I mean, Cage broke his ankle while filming.
yeah, that resulted in him being out of action for 2 weeks.
That's why you never see him standing in the entire movie.
Except when he's jogging.
Yeah, they luckily they got the jogging scenes.
Well, they already had stock footage of Nicolas Cage jogging.
yeah, they
they just
either
have to
cut
go-
that from something else, or they every time he does a movie, they just film the jogging scenes right off the bat.
Because we're going to need a bunch of these.
We'll just throw them in wherever we need a quick cut. Nicolas Cage described this movie as disappointing and admitted that he didn't like the final cut. And
does that mean there's a cut of this movie out there that's good?
If there is, nobody's seen it.
Not even the editor who cut it.
And because this is based on a true event, the 1997 North Hollywood shootout that we all know about.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Apparently, when Nicolas Cage came across this script, he was pretty excited about it. Thought it sounded like it would be a real rip-roaring good time, and even he agrees that did not happen.
It's usually pretty bad if your biggest name actor in a movie comes out and's like, yeah, this wasn't great.
Yeah, he pulled a real friggin' Mark Hamill, because Last Jedi movie.
Topical.
And so this is the 6th collaboration between Nicolas Cage and Millennium Films after Wicker Man, Bad Lieutenant, Border Call, New Orleans Drive, Angry Trespass, and Stolen, the movie that was not good enough to defeat G-Force, the greatest movie.
It should have been, though.
But it
I
wasn't.
can see the same makers of Stolen making this movie, though.
Yeah.
Stolen was better than this, though. I'll say that, I think.
Yeah, it reminds me
But
of
it
Stolen.
still wasn't good.
It reminds me of Stolen because it sucked and Nick loves it.
Hey, man, Stolen, you know that scene where he's fucking talking about his dad is cinematic gold. I'm using that somewhere. I'm gonna have to cut it and put it in something.
There's some great stuff in Stolen. And check.
Yeah, like when it ends and you can turn it off. I love that part.
Shit.
That's how I feel about probably 70% of the movies we've watched thus far.
I love the scene in Stolen where you find out the villain is actually not Matthew McConaughey, even though you had thought that he was for the whole time.
Hey, and now for everyone's favorite segment, the Cage Styling Report.
Oh boy.
Okay, in this film, he's sporting a police uniform.
And we all know Nick loves a man in uniform.
That's true.
Loves a man in uniform because
Nick backs the badge.
the way they tailor these cop pants, you can really see their bulge, and it drives Nick wild.
You know it. I gotta stare at that, and if it's cut right, which in this I didn't really pay attention because I couldn't be bothered to pay much attention to this movie. But that's all he wears for this movie. I think he also wears like a gray T-shirt and blue jeans. But that's the Cage Styling Report for this one.
Yeah, he was just talking about bulges, and then you were like, if it's cut right, and I was like, shit, is this a circumcision joke?
Yes, it is. I decided retroactively that it was.
Yeah, because so there's a bit of friggin' torture in the beginning of this movie, and instead of Nicolas Cage getting his ear lobe cut off or whatever, somebody circumcises him right there.
We do get torture for anyone with a basic understanding of how a computer works.
Yes. Yes, the very opening of this movie, we get about at least 1 minute solid. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of time because you're used to hyperbole, but I'm talking a literal minute of screen time where it is just shots of a lady typing on a keyboard as a Matrix-style screen, because I say Matrix-style because it's all green and looks like 90s computers.
Because that's how hackers do it.
Yeah.
She's obviously, if she stops, it's like Speed. If she stops typing, if she takes her foot off the gas pedal, the computer will explode.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, we all know in order to make the loading bar go quicker, you gotta type as fast as you can.
You gotta type
Yes.
whatever you can think of.
And which is true. Like, whatever she's typing doesn't fucking matter because there's just a loading bar that says transferring files, and she's not actually typing anything at all. I don't understand how whoever was filming this didn't catch that, or like
See,
whoever CGI'd the screen on afterwards didn't like think about this.
I'm willing to give.
It was a good take, but if you could hack just a little bit harder.
I'm willing to give this lady the
get your hack
benefit
on.
of the doubt because there's a lot of times at work when I'm clicking, clacking away just to try and seem busy, so the friggin' boss man doesn't come crushing down on me. And you know what? if she was, trying to play Flappy Bird on her phone or Garfield food truck and, there was a loading screen and she didn't want to get caught. Yeah, click like away, dude.
I think we should get sponsored by Garfield Food Truck at this point because you've mentioned them enough that I think I'm gonna talk to them about getting some ads. You're a big fan, I see.
Yeah, actually, the only reason I bring it up is because I hope to one day have the version of the app without advertisements in it.
So should I download Garfield Food Truck?
Yeah, see, and help me get past level 289 or whatever.
Let's do a test ad right now. Go.
Have you ever wanted to match 3 to release the lasagna from its prison? Well, guess what? You can do it with your old pals, John, Garfield, and Odie.
Odie, he's my favorite.
And he's here to freaking get the avocados off the dang screen so we can free the freaking
avocado. Thanks.
Exactly. We're gonna free the freaking lasagnas, and we're gonna pop the bubbles that are imprisoning our eggs.
Do you get to mail Nermal to Abu Dhabi?
I think that's the DLC, which I haven't paid for this yet.
Well, now I'm upset with them because I don't. I want that in the base content. Like that shouldn't.
This
I shouldn't have to
play
pay.
bullshit.
Yeah, to fucking pay to ship Nermal to Abu Dhabi. I've been dreaming of that since I was 5 years old, and I first read that comic.
First, you got to get the skin from the loot crate that looks like a box with a Abu Dhabi destination on it, and then you got to get the Nermal skin where Nermal looks distressed because they're getting put in a box. So it's a whole lot of things you have to gather together before you can send off Nermal. So
good to know. Well, this is a good test print. I'm gonna send this off to their marketing team, see if they're cool with it, and with any luck, you'll be hearing more of that in the future. Great content.
Richard Kyle Metz says, "This is a fun game and I love it, and I'm a huge Garfield fan, so it's a perfect game if you like figure out things and love Garfield."
I love figuring out things, and even though I have said time and time again that Richard J. Metz is a fucking moron, he got it right this one time.
Great games, lots of challenge, also great if you're a fan of Garfield because the humor is there and all your favorite characters.
Lots of challenge?
Sometimes I can't even complete a freaking level because I'm busting my shit so hard at how funny he is about the Mondays.
I'm 39 and I love both of the Garfield games. So entertaining.
What other Garfield game?
Wait.
There's either 2 Garfield games or a million Garfield games.
I think you can play like a version of
There's Garfield Rush, Talking Garfield, Garfield Living Large, Garfield My Big Fat Diet, Garfield Snack Time, Garfield Daily, Garfield Cart, Garfield Snaps, Garfield Food Truck, Garfield Smog Buster.
So that
Garfield
guy's review
Bingo,
should have been,
Garfield's Checkers for Kids,
I'm 39
Garfield
and I don't know
Garfield
how to count.
Chef Match 3 Puzzle, Garfield Go AR Treasure Hunt, Garfield 4 in a Row for Kids,
Why are
Garfield
there so
Chess for
many of
Kids,
these?
Garfield
I
Sticker
didn't
Tap,
realize that
Garfield
people were
Math
still
Run, Garfield
in
Box Screen,
this into
Talking
Garfield?
Pro.
Well, see, Garfield has had a
that doesn't look like
resurgence in the meme
That looks like
community.
about it.
Oh, okay. So that was all he could find. There's not enough out there.
Garfield Boy.
Garfield. Garfield. Garfield.
Hey,
Garfield.
Mondays!
Eat lasagna.
Oh, I got a food truck and I gotta get the lasagna.
That was a perfect Garfield impression.
Thank you.
All right. So, getting back into 211,
Oh, God.
where we last left off, a lady was typing furiously to transfer
So
files.
you know the first 30 seconds.
And just real quick before we hop back into it, I just wanted to go through one thing from my notes. Should have called it 311 because this movie's a beautiful disaster. And it does take place 7 months before the Nicolas Cage World Trade Center movie.
Never forget.
Yeah, well, I mean, never forget.
Never forget.
How am I supposed to?
So after this lady transfers the files, they walk out to a car, and an incredibly poorly paced action scene ensues as they are ambushed. They stop every 2 seconds to show the face of the guy who just shot the gun for a good solid 5 seconds. It's really fucking weird. There's a lot of shots of a guy aiming down the sights going, and then he leans away from the gun and just looks at the camera while it holds on him for a long time.
Well, because he's like, hey, Should I go? Are we done? Go to the
Do
next
I
scene?
shoot
Was
more?
that enough?
Did I hit the thing that I'm looking at? Because I have to look away from the gun to find out.
So, apparently this team of people who just killed this guy because... Okay, wait, hold on. I didn't explain that. The people who transfer the computer files get murdered by a mysterious group of mercenaries who apparently were employed by this group of people transferring the computer files but were never paid. This is never truly referenced again. And honestly, this scene is pointless other than to show that these guys are good at killing people. And now we move on to about 8 scenes in a row, all involving completely different people. I have a very hard time following because it seems like every scene is unrelated to the last. You are introduced to new characters. There's a kid being bullied at school, a cop and his wife who just conceived a child, a lady who works for Interpol who is investigating these mercenaries, and it just an old couple, which the old couple never comes up again. I don't really know why they were in there, but the rest of them do come back.
Yeah, they introduced so many people at the start of this movie. It's impossible to know who we're supposed to be remembering and why. And literally, all these introductory scenes happen in succession in like 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, I'm thinking the movie is called 211 because there are 211 unrelated scenes back to back.
211 characters.
So, now, the Interpol lady is confronting an arms dealer who she believes supplied the weapons that the mercenary team used to kill those people. Then the bully's kid's mom is being reprimanded by the principal because the kid fought back. And, yeah, I know that's jarring and doesn't make sense to have those back to back, but that's all that happens in those 2 scenes, and they're right back to back, and that's after all of those other unrelated scenes I talked about. This movie is just fucking all over the place constantly until the action starts, and then it's boring.
Makes Inconceivable seem like it was well constructed, almost.
So, one of the mercenaries goes in a diner across the street and straps like a phone bomb to the bottom of a table there, then leaves. It's all part of their brilliant plan to blow up an unrelated diner for some reason.
Yeah, I think they had like ordered a breakfast sandwich, and it came out really hot, like it does at Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
So they just blew the place up.
So, we see Cage is the father of that cop, or of that cop's wife, the one who just him and his wife were conceiving a child, and they also work together on the force. Cage is a cop too.
Yes, they're
There's some
partners.
cops. They're partners, which is weird. I didn't think they would assign like a guy and his son-in-law to be partners.
It does seem off, especially because he has to like pick his son-in-law up for work in the morning after friggin' railing his daughter.
Yeah.
And they make some awkward eye contact, which leads us to believe that the father-daughter relationship ain't so fresh.
Nope. But that's never addressed again. Yeah, apparently the daughter does say at the start, like, she's got a rough relationship with Cage, her dad. Never brought up again. Just another unresolved plot line in this movie. And she's another, how do we say this, pointless character, which this movie is littered with.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the problems with a lot of like based on true events or whatever kind of stories, where it's they try to fit in like all these like insignificant people that were like there for real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like for a movie that doesn't make it.
Yeah,
better.
you gotta have
like
a plot structure and like.
yeah.
Even if you are adapting real events, if you're making it into a movie, you have to take movie considerations into it and make an entertaining thing or something to watch. If you want to talk about all those other people, make a documentary then, you know? Like
It kind of reminds me of USS Indianapolis, where it's just like, why do I care about any of these things?
Yeah, this movie gave me the same feel as the trailer for that Boston Marathon bombing movie with Mark Wahlberg. And hey, if you enjoyed that, maybe this is for you. But
That's a thing.
that is a thing. It's called
I
like
don't
a
recall that, but
it's called like a Patriots Day or something. And
what?
yeah,
Uh,
and it came out like a
Because
couple
it's
years
so
ago.
patriotic to have bombers blow up a marathon?
There's
Like,
nothing more patriotic than one, being from Boston, and two, coming together in a time of friggin'
explosions.
And Mark
Explosion.
Wahlberg.
and Mark Wahlberg, because he's actually from Boston and he's actually racist. So he's
What's more
believable.
American?
He's basically a Boston cop already.
Yeah.
We just lost all our Boston Cop viewers now. Thanks.
Oops.
Damn. Well, so Cage as a cop is complaining in the seat that everyone nowadays has a camera and a lawyer and is holding police accountable for their actions, and he's just yelling about it.
I can't shoot anybody anymore because I got a goddamn camera strapped to my chest.
So while that's going on, the bullied black kid, I guess, to straighten him out or something, they sent him on a police ride along. Because
Yes.
they're straightening him out because he fought back against the bullies, for the record.
Yeah, he was literally in a bathroom and he was assaulted by a group of people, and now he's being punished by being yelled at by cops.
But you think, like, of all the people, the cops would be like, hey, like, we understand why you did this.
Right. Like, if they knew any of what happened, I feel like there would be some sympathy, but they literally approach him and they're like, you fucked up and now you have to do this.
Yeah.
And it was very weird energy from them just approaching a high schooler.
Yeah. And, for the record, the high school kid is named Kenny. And,
And oh my god, they killed him.
it was sad. They killed him.
Yeah, like, first scene in the movie, it was just fucking crazy. Like, I was like, why did you put this in a movie? You just
And then
introduce
they-
a kid, and then you just fucking kill him?
They make his dead body go on this rhino.
Yeah, they try to do a Weekend at Bernie's thing, but like it's not working.
He's wearing sunglasses, but his skull is exploded open.
So while he's going on the ride along, he's taking videos of the cops with his phone. Cage doesn't like that because he doesn't like phones and being held accountable for
Kids these days.
It's
But-
like, how's he supposed to like show this kid how, you know, the cops are like supposed to go like kill people and stuff?
But so the mercenaries are now robbing a bank, and they see that cops are coming close, so they detonate the phone bomb in the restaurant across the street from the bank. I don't really understand their plan. I don't.
I just like that their plan is to steal. I think it's like $1 million or like $1 million and change or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're using gear that probably costs like
Well over that?
maybe half as much if they were frugal.
Honestly, just sell that shit to a bunch of other terrorists and then like go get a job at Ben and Jerry's or something. I don't know.
Yeah, also, I believe banks don't keep in their vault any more than $500,000 at a time.
Why
Don't-
do you know
don't-
this, Nick?
Don't ask me why I know that. FBI, don't you be watching me.
Yeah, FBI. We just watched Trapped in Paradise. That's the only reason why we hear about these things.
We are grade A bank robbers now. We watch Trapped in Paradise.
Exactly. We
watch-
know when we go to a diner across the street, we're gonna fetch a guy, not blow it up for no reason.
Yeah, and we're gonna
get
bring
guy
the
to open
entire
vault.
diner over.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do like stretches and yoga.
Honestly, they're super lucky Nicolas Cage wasn't in Heat, because if we had seen that dude, we'd be fucking on our way to Mexico already.
So yeah, Trapped in Paradise was a pretty good movie. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I like Trapped in Paradise. It
wasn't bad.
It wasn't great, but it was
was a good-
charming. It
Good
was
goofy
charming.
comedy.
It was charming. And
I
so
wish John Lovitz had some better dialogue, but
Yeah.
yeah, so let's get a countdown. 3.
Oh god, no. But so after the bomb explodes, Cage and Steve, who is his partner's name, is Steve. They hear about this and they're like, "Well, we've got this kid riding along. We can't take him to the scene of this exploding bomb. So let's go check out this guy who's parked illegally near the scene of the explosion." I didn't get the logic, but surprise, surprise, this guy who's parked illegally near the scene of the explosion, he's one of the mercenaries.
He's the getaway driver.
And when he sees the cops pull up, he just lets loose with his MP5, just wrecking.
And,
Sorry, the
Great Foley
tea's
work.
kicking in.
yeah, that was impressive.
I thought he had a real gun.
I have goose pimples right now.
I'm trying to pursue a career in Foley.
Please, Nick, put the gun down.
And that watermelon that you keep making squishy sounds with.
Yeah, well, I'm not putting away the watermelon for the record. I'm gonna have fun with this later. But anyways,
He's gonna fuck with the
so
watermelon.
he's opening fire.
He's got that.
He opens fire
I
on
want
Cage
to
and
die.
Steve's car, and Cage and Steve kill the guy, but Steve gets shot in the leg in the process. More cops show up. There's a shootout between the mercenaries and the cops. Mercenaries are just fucking murdering all these cops.
There's just like a lot of gunfire.
yeah, like at least 5 cops die.
Yeah, a lot of dudes getting slumped.
Yeah, and I don't really know what their plan is. Their plan was to rob a bank for $1 million, and for some reason they believe their best course of action was to get into a massive shootout and cause explosions.
Everyone knows, like, when you think of like great bank heist movies, it's always the ones where they just go in and just start shooting everybody and blowing up buildings.
Blowing up
Think about it
everything.
this way. You show up to the scene of the bank, you cause $1 million in damage, and then when the cops show up with the $1 million to fix the damage, you just take that and drive off.
Yeah.
Perfect idea.
Boom.
Bada bing. So Steve, Cage's son-in-law, cop partner, is laying there dying from this gunshot wound in the leg. I guess he's bleeding out. And he has Kenny, ride-along kid, record a message to his wife and unborn child as he's dying on the phone. And he starts talking to his child directly and says, like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't, you gotta see me like this and I look terrible. And the whole time I'm thinking, dude, you should never let your kids see this. You are dying.
You are
It's
literally
like-
moments away from death and recording yourself like disoriented and saying like, "Hey kid, I hope you freaking you're never gonna meet me, but we would have tossed the ball around."
We would have played catch, Tommy. I hope you're a boy and she names you Tommy.
If you're a girl, I'm gonna come back to life and haunt the fuck out of you, dude.
But yeah, so after that, the cops all run off and just leave Kenny behind for some reason. I don't really know why. Steve dies also. Well,
But not before saying, "I'm gonna die here," and then he does.
He
he's
called
prophetic.
He, yeah,
I believe his name is Steve Nostradamus.
yeah. That was the full name.
it. It's based on a true story, and it's the story of Nostradamus.
Yep, that's the one. Nostradamus from the famous 1997 North Hollywood shootout. Yeah, Kenny gets separated from the cops, and I couldn't tell if these mercenaries were like just blindly firing into any body they could see, but there's this poor kid who's just like trying to run the opposite direction and he's getting shot at.
Yeah, it's just clearly not a cop. Like 4 cops go by in uniform. This is like a 16-year-old kid that
Yes,
is just
That could have been an undercover cop.
Yeah, I guess.
You are wasting ammunition on this kid that you are not going to kill. And he ends up like hopping in the back of a empty truck. and
Yep.
Just hanging out there.
And now his phone's dead, but he jury rigs a way to charge it with a 9-volt battery and a car charger. I'm like, cool. And at first I was skeptical because car chargers are meant to charge off of 12 volts, and a 9-volt battery is obviously 9 volts. But I looked it up and you can do it. So hey, it works.
Myth busted.
Yeah. But my question is, why didn't he just plug it into the car that he was in? Why would the battery have been dead on this car? It's just sitting there parked. Like, I don't
mean,
understand.
Doesn't the car have to
'cause-
be started?
No.
For...
No, you can charge. You'll kill the battery, but you can still charge it.
Let's go on and fucking do it right now, dude.
All right.
Yeah, we can prove it right now.
Fuck.
But yeah, he uses his phone to call his mom and tell her that he's okay and where he is. And then, yeah,
Right before his phone conveniently dies. Because he gets 1% of juice. He calls his mom, who is maybe the worst actor in this entire movie. And they have a heart-to-heart that made me the opposite of emotional.
made you angry. Well, I guess that's an emotion.
Yeah. I just... it sucked.
Yeah. No, it was good. Then, honestly, about 20 minutes of this movie go by where I don't take any notes because nothing that's happening matters. The Interpol lady, I will say, is periodically showing up throughout this for whatever reason, but
Because it's Interpol.
yeah, she doesn't fucking matter though. Her character had no purpose in this movie whatsoever. And okay, wait. Here's her one saving grace. So a lot of things happen but don't matter, and the Mercs decide to plan their escape, but it fails as they get shot up by the cops, and one of them's about to kill Nicolas Cage, but then Kenny comes out of nowhere, out of hiding, and kills the guy who's gonna kill Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage is like, "Thanks, 16-year-old kid who just shot that guy, saved my life. I hope you're not scarred by this." But and then
Can't ward off bullies, but you can murder somebody. Okay.
And then another mercenary that's running away gets killed by Interpol lady. So she did have one purpose in this movie, and that is to kill that guy who could have been killed by any of the other characters.
But you wanted to look at that lady and say, hey, she's been in this movie
Mhm.
previously.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think.
So, and then all the SWAT team members that were there were useless. They just shot their guns a lot, but they didn't hit any mercenaries. And so, after that, we get Cage and his daughter hugging in the back of an ambulance as Cage is leaving because he got shot. And then cut to Cage jogging. Apparently he's recovered. And he jogs right into a surprise birthday party. And who's there but his daughter, his granddaughter who's born now, not his son-in-law because he died.
His son-in-law was there.
Oh, wait, he was?
Yeah.
I thought he died.
In this scene, they reveal that he was alive, I think. Because at first I was like, wait, is this like a fever dream?
Force Ghost?
I thought he was gonna like wake up on a stretcher or something. But yeah, Steve was still alive at the end, apparently.
I guess I missed that because I was just like, yes, it's finally ending.
He spent so much time whining about how he's gonna die.
And he can't even do that right.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
What a piece of shit.
And Kenny and his mom are there too. And they all have a rip-rollicking good time. And Cage is like, hey, Kenny, do you still have that phone you always carry around with you? I want to use it to take pictures of my granddaughter. And then Kenny's like, haha, yeah, you and phone hate because that's a thing. Cage hates phones.
You're a freaking boomer and you hate phones. And then literally the final line of this movie is Nicolas Cage playfully saying, let's take some pics. Let's take some new pics. Cut to credits.
It was a very thematically relevant line to close on. And so, thoughts?
This movie baffled me.
Let's not watch this movie again.
So there's two things happening simultaneously with this movie, which are a little bit contradictory, where it felt like it was dragging, but also every time I checked the runtime, I was like, how am I an hour into this movie? Because nothing has happened.
Yeah, seriously.
Like
That's why I felt like it was dragging, because it didn't utilize its time to do anything.
I just thought it was weird that of like two movies, I thought that the one that was like a bank heist would draw my attention in.
yes, so when I saw heist in the description, I was like, cool. Let's see some explosions.
But then it's this.
This is I can't even describe how painful this movie was to watch. It was one of the most unwatchable movies I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And at first,
And we watch a lot of unwatchable movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, just for this podcast.
yeah, normally I'm not watching unwatchable movies this often, but this was just hard.
Yeah.
It felt painful.
So yeah, it was one of the better ones.
yeah.
But yeah, the editing of this movie was terrible. It kills any sense of pacing. Like, the action scenes are cut too slowly. Like, they hold on scenes for much longer than they need to, and it kills any sense of like impending danger or anything like that. And then the dialogue and stuff like goes by, you know, like quickly without you being able to tell what the fuck is going on in the plot. Like, everything's zipping by. There's too many characters. There are just way too many fucking characters to keep track of. And none of them matter. Not one bit. The Interpol lady could have been lifted out of this movie and not a fucking thing would have changed in the least bit. Her plot didn't matter. Kenny really didn't matter, honestly. I mean, like, I think if they just focused on the relationship between Kenny and those cops, could have been a more interesting movie. But instead, they had to throw in Interpol lady. They had to throw in all the scenes with the mercenaries doing their planning. I call them mercenaries, but I don't know. They're just people who want to rob a bank and kill police. And they don't really have a good plan to rob the bank either. Their plan is to go in the bank and then kill people.
Until they get the money.
I mean,
And the heartfelt scenes that they try and go for aren't earned in the slightest. You have no attachment to any of the characters, so you're not getting anything from it. The action is bad and not interesting. The writers should be fucking ashamed. Like I'm sorry.
you're
I'm
pretty
really-
passionate about
Yeah.
this.
The heist felt like they were doing a Grand Theft Auto 5 heist, and they had picked all the cheapest options for like helping hands, and everything went wrong.
Yeah, I know you guys were saying like about 5 minutes into this movie, you were like, I can't do this. I felt exactly that same way. 5 minutes into the movie, and I was already like, holy shit, I can't take this. And I about 20 minutes into the movie, I literally said to myself, I need a drink right now. And I had to go up. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon, which isn't too late, but I poured myself some straight whiskey to get through this fucking movie because I couldn't do this sober. It was
Honestly, most times, if somebody told me that they had completely checked out 5 minutes into a movie, I would not really take their stance on the movie as credible. But I cannot stress enough that this movie truly, right off the bat, was just completely terrible. I was like second guessing myself, wondering if I was being too harsh, but it was truly atrocious.
I just find this so showing that, like, we've watched a lot of bad movies on this podcast. Like,
yeah.
we've watched really bad movies. And this is one where I think all of us just, like, could not sit and just watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was under 90 minutes, and it was too long.
This was the first movie where I legitimately, every movie up to this point, I have eyes glued to the screen. Occasionally I had to pause and like do something and just take a break but because they were bad, but I still devoted my attention fully to the movie when it was on. This movie, I was like, I can't fucking do this, man. And I just brought down my laptop and I started editing photos in Lightroom because I couldn't, like, I couldn't devote my attention. I couldn't let this movie waste my life.
So I
Like,
think
it was-
all you listeners know which movie's going forward, and we're watching 211 again.
We're watching I'm gonna keep watching it until I've watched it 211 times.
Maybe that's what this movie is saying, that it's better with repetition, and once you get to that 211th mark, you
Everything
think
makes
it's,
sense.
Yeah, and it's amazing.
Yeah, because at that point you're attached to Interpol Lady,
And
you're
you
like,
know the characters.
don't you dare take Interpol Lady out of this movie.
But yeah, well, the other thing I was gonna say is like about 10 minutes before the end of this movie, I had a moment where I was like, Jesus Christ, how much of this movie is left? Like, I can't take this anymore. And I looked at it and I was like, holy shit, it's only 10 minutes. Like, the finish line is in sight. But at the same time, I was like, how are there only 10 minutes left? Because the plot hasn't moved at all. And they're not at a point where this can resolve. Like, it's just, God.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil my vote, but I can say with confidence that for me, this is the worst movie that we have watched so far. This is what, 22 movies in?
It was bad.
It was really bad. I don't know if I would say it's the worst just yet. Hear me out. The one that takes it for me is Sunny, and that's just because it's almost twice as long as this movie. And
Well, I think there are movies I hate more than this movie. Like, this was just bad cinematography, like, all around. Like,
Yeah,
bad
just-
writing, bad acting, bad
No
bad
redeeming
everything.
qualities.
Yeah. Where a lot of the other movies we've watched have made me angry at, like, something. Where it's just like, this is really bad in this one specific thing that I'm getting angry watching. I didn't get that fully from this movie. This was more of just a very broad, I don't care.
Yeah, the worst thing about it was that like there was nothing to even get mad at. There was just everything was inconsequential.
Well,
completely.
the computer clacking scene at the very first shot of the movie
true.
did make me kind of
was it,
mad
yeah.
because I was like, "This isn't even good, like hacker nonsense."
But
This
that's one
is
of those
just-
things that's in so many movies that you're like, it's just a
It's
trope
true,
now.
but I feel like they fucked up that trope even because she was typing to a loading bar. Like,
I'm not trying to defend them.
I know. But, God.
And I did write a review for this movie. If you guys would let me indulge myself.
You have the floor.
So I wouldn't, just read my reviews on air, but let me get this let me get my my review all set.
Alright.
Okay, let me hold on. Let me get it up here. Hold
That's
on
what
one
his
second.
girlfriend says to him too.
1 second. Hold on. We've got Wi-Fi stuff going on. Okay. Okay. So my review of 211. Absolutely not. That's it.
All right, that's good review.
Yeah, I
So
like
That
it.
sums it up pretty well.
absolutely not.
Shall we vote, gentlemen?
Dave, could we just this one time?
We need a break here, man.
We truly
We just watched
Rage
two.
fight, no, fuck off. I'm not doing it.
All right. We really need a new engineer.
All right. Let's
Okay.
do
3,
a vote. 2.
2,
One.
1.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
211. I changed my vote. 211.
I
I just want that on record. Nick voted for 211.
Nick voted for 211, the worst movie I have seen this year.
Mm. Yeah, it's really bad.
And I saw Captain Corelli's Mandolin.
You really hate that one.
that was the lowest ranked movie for me. 'Cause
really?
I do keep a
You had that
ranking
lower
going.
than Sunny?
Yeah.
I keep a ranking too.
Zandali's worse.
I have a lot of movies below Sunny, actually.
Really?
Not that I enjoyed Sunny by any stretch. But yeah, 211 sucks. And Nick loves children and exposing himself to them.
Not true at all.
He loves 311.
He loves 311 and he loves listening to the song Amber and singing it to young children to lure them in.
And that's the other podcast.
He's
No other
just
thing
trying.
speaks that.
He's just
And
trying
we'll see
to
you next
diffuse
week.
away attention from the fact that he's a liar and he hates G-Force and he's manipulating you.
Would a man who hates G-Force spend $22.95 plus shipping on a T-shirt?
You
It's
gotta
true,
buy
he did do that.
banner.
we do gotta get a banner.
All
we are
right.
gonna get a banner, and it'll be the last day of his life.
So you know how like at military funerals they have the flag over the coffin? G-Force banner.
We're gonna have
over
a
the coffin.
G-Force banner on your coffin, and we're gonna dump it into the ocean.
Oh God. All right, fine. I always wanted my funeral to not be a sad time, and they can all laugh at me for having a fucking G-Force.
Oh no, we're gonna make it
going.
really sad.
G-Force has the emotional depth that caused me to cry.
That's true. When I wasn't sure they were gonna get out of that pet store.
When the one fat hamster is dead, but then the cake brings him back.
Because he's so fat.
I'm still pissed that he didn't fart his way back to
He's
existence.
so fucking fat.
They were brothers. Okay, bye.
Oh wait. Next week we will be talking about National Treasure: Book of Secrets. That's the second one.
That's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I actually kind of am too. After like the slog of things that we've been through.
And
And,
I know you're really excited for the movie that it's going up against.
Christmas Carol, the movie,
Oh yeah.
which I had no fucking idea Cage was ever in a rendition of Christmas Carol. But
Also, this is a hard one to find because there's a million different
Christmas
renditions of A Christmas Carol, and I know this one. It's like an animated kids movie, but I'm really hoping that there's some aspect of it that is like a gritty dystopian future version of A Christmas Carol.
yeah. Well, yeah. Join us next week for those, and don't watch 211. Don't do it. Just
Don't.
don't. You probably shouldn't watch Inconceivable either, honestly. I didn't much care for that
If
one.
you're like super bored and got nothing better to do.
Yeah, save it for
There
the
are
next
other
time we
things-
have to watch Inconceivable.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bitch.
Dave's fired.
This has been a Solid Work production.
Solid work. Solid work. Solid work. Hey, solid work.